It's the 25th of August 2025. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst Primetime News, bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team. I am Jayama Ratnayaka.
And I am Hashini Patirana. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Ranil to remain in the ICU till tomorrow morning. Doctors decide. Will Ranil be given a national list seat? Election rhetoric versus realistic statements. Opposition leader Sajid explains the difference. Certain statements on Ranil affect judicial process. Complaints lodged at the CID. DIG of Colombo, Lianage, arrested and remanded over treasure hunting incident. In a top story for tonight, Deputy Director of the National Hospital, Dr. Rukshan Bellana, stated that doctors have decided to treat former President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Intensive Care Unit or the ICU until tomorrow morning. Wickremesinghe, who has been in remand custody since last Friday over allegations of spending more than 16.6 million rupees in public funds on a private foreign trip, is scheduled to appear before the 4th Magistrates Court again tomorrow. The Board of Specialist Doctors has found his condition to be quite challenging and they are currently preparing a full report. They have also decided that he needs to remain in the intensive care unit for now. I believe they plan to review his condition again tomorrow morning. Until then, based on the current medical advice, he will continue to stay in the ICU. So, whether he can be taken to court tomorrow is still uncertain. It really depends on how things develop. He's stable for now, but there has been a noticeable worsening of complications. There were concerns about possible effects on his heart, kidneys and even his brain. That is why he underwent an MRI this afternoon. To be honest, if proper treatment isn't given after identifying these issues, it could lead to more serious complications. That is exactly why the ICU team, both doctors and nurses, are closely monitoring and treating him. We are hopeful that with another day or two of care, he'll start to move toward a more stable condition.
Dr. Rukshan Bellana says that no one other than Ranil Wickremesinghe's family members or individuals approved by them is allowed to visit him. He also noted that others are permitted only as far as the entrance to the intensive care unit where Wickremesinghe is currently being treated. Despite restrictions on visits, several politicians still made their way to see Ranil Wickremesinghe, who remains in remand custody and is receiving treatment at the National Hospital. Among them, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa and several members of the Samagijana Balawegaya visited the hospital this morning to inquire about Wickremesinghe's condition. Although MP Ravi Karunanayaka, President's Council Maitri Gunaratna, MP Kavinda Jayawardena and MP Gayantha Karunatilaka of the Samagijana Balawegaya visited the National Hospital at various times throughout the day, they were not granted the opportunity to visit Ranil Wickremesinghe.
එතුමාව බලන්න අවකාශයක් නැහැ මොකද එතුමා දැඩි සත්කාර ඒකකේ ප්‍රතිකාර ලබන්නේ එතුමා වෛද්‍ය උපදෙස් මත රෝහල්ගත වුණු නිසා එතුමාගේ සුව දුක් බලලා එතුමාට ඉක්මන් සුවය ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන්න තමයි අද අපි එතුමා බලන්න ආවේ. This afternoon, Samagijana Balawegaya MPs Nalin Bandara and Chaminda Vijayasiri visited the National Hospital, but they did not get the opportunity to visit Ranil Wickremesinghe. By this afternoon, a backdrop had been set up in front of the National Hospital to facilitate politicians in sharing their statements with the media. Several monks from the New People's Front also visited the hospital premises, but they too were denied the opportunity to check on Ranil Wickremesinghe's condition. Meanwhile, journalists today quizzed opposition political parties whether there is any discussion taking place to reappoint former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is in remand custody on charges of engaging in a private foreign trip using public funds amounting to over 16.6 million rupees as a member of parliament.
පුවත් මවන්න එපා පොඩි මෝඩ චූන් වලට මල්ලි ඒක හොඳයි නෑ මම මේකයි මේ මගේ වගකීම මට එහෙම ආවට ගියාට දේවල් කියන්න බෑ අපි සාකච්ඡා කරේ මේ අද පවතින තත්ත්වය පිළිබඳව දැන් මේ ගොසිප් කතාවක් කියවිලා තියෙනවා මේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්මයාට පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අසුනක් දෙන්න යම්කිසි සාකච්ඡාවක් තියෙනවද කියලා එහෙම ටිකක් ඇත්තද ඒ කතාව මට දන්නේ නැහැ මාධ්‍ය දන්නවනම් මාධ්‍යම පිළිතුරු සපේ ගන්න ඕනේ එතුමට එහෙම පාර්ලිමේන්තුව යන්න කැමැත්තක් වුණොත් ඔබතුමාලා ඒක දෙන්න කැමතිද මම දන්නේ නැති දෙයකට මට උත්තර දෙන්න බෑනේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු
යන්න වරම් ලබා දෙන්නත් ඔබතුමාලා මොනවාරි සාකච්ඡාවක් වෙලා තියෙනවද?
අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කල්පනා කරන්නේ මේ රටේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය ආරක්ෂා කරන්න එවැනි සාකච්ඡාවක් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ. මාලකම් උත්තර දෙවි.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඔබතුමාලා ඉවත් කරුවද? කොහොමද මාතෘ දෙන්න? හරියට. පොඩි අදහසක් කියලා. පොඩ. මේ රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහතුමා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව පන්තියක් දෙන්න හදනවද? පුතා. රනිල් මහත්තයාට පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී ධූරයක් දෙන්න සාකච්ඡා වුණාද?
පාර්ලිමේන්තු බාලය කියලා ගන්න.
නෑ ඔබතුමාලා එක්කෙනෙක් ඉවත් වෙලා. එහෙම ඉවත් වෙන කවුරුත් කැමති වෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
ඒව සාකච්ඡාවක් නැහැ.
ආරංචි මාර්ග. වචනයක් කියලා නැත්තම් මොකක්ද සාකච්ඡා වුණේ කියලා.
නෑ තාම සාකච්ඡා ඉවර නෑ. මේක ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදීය ඉතිකරන්න විපක්ෂ ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙනවා කියලා මේ වෙලාව සාකච්ඡා යනවා. ඉදිරියට එකතු වෙනවා. එච්චරයි.
එකතු වෙනවා කියන්නේ
Journalists questioned representatives of opposition political parties if Ranil Wickremesinghe was preparing to return to parliament following a discussion held today at the opposition leader's office in Colombo. Representatives of opposition parties, including opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, who did not attend the press conference held at a hotel in Kolpeti yesterday, held discussions with other opposition party representatives today. Among those who participated in the discussion were former President Maithripala Sirisena, leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Nimal Siripala De Silva, Duminda Disanayaka, United National Party's Ravi Karunalayaka, Sagala Ratnayaka, Vajrabe Wadana and Professor G.L. Pieris. The opposition leader's office said that the meeting was convened to discuss short-term and long-term cooperation with opposition parties as the arrest of Ranil Wickremesinghe was not an isolated incident but a significant challenge to democratic politics.
Upon conclusion of the discussion, members of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, United National Party and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party addressed the media.
We have placed full faith in the judiciary, but we know the facts presented by the CID and police who dance to the tune of the government is the start of a larger political plan. If so, you must join us to protect your rights and on behalf of him. The matter will be taken up against at the 4th Magistrates Court tomorrow. The government that came into power to nab rogues is repressing the opposition. That same government is imprisoning opposition figures, nab thieves, but don't act against the opposition. The police opposed Ranil Wickremesinghe being granted bail. By then, statements from 38 people had been recorded. No one can argue that he would have left the country or absconded. It appears that the police have not even considered two key conditions that are usually looked at when deciding on bail by rejecting it. Our people appreciate democracy. They dislike an autocracy. Let's shun racial divides and gather in Colombo to protect democracy opposing this dictatorship. We invite you for it.
කොළඹ කිව්වම සියලු දෙනාම දන්නවා කොහාට දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා. ඕල්පේස්ද? කොළඹ කිව්වම දන්නවා කොහාට දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
නෑ ගොඩක් තියෙනවා කොළඹ. බොරැල්ල තියෙනවා රාජගිරිය බම්බලපිටිය ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. කොළඹ කිව්වම හදිස්සිය අවිස්සාවේල
නෑ ඔබතුමාලාට තේරෙන්නේ නැතුණාට ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය රකින්න තැන කොහෙද කියලා අහුවාම ඒක දන්න සියලු දෙනාම දන්නවා ප්‍රජා හෙට දිනේදී ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය රැකෙන්න කොහෙන්ද ඒකාධිපත්‍යයට එරෙහි වෙන්න පුළුවන් තැන මොකක්ද කියන එක මම හිතන්නේ මේ දෙකටම ආදරය කරන සහ විරුද්ධ ඒ සියලු දෙනාම මේක දන්නේ.
Despite such mentions being made during the media briefing, the General Secretary and Chairman of the United National Party had this to say.
කවුද කියලා දෙන්නේ? කොළඹට එන්න කියලා. නෑ ජනතාව එනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කැමැත්තෙන් ඒගොල්ලෝ එනවා. එහෙම එන එක අපිට නවත්තන්න බෑනේ.
ජනතාව පැමිණෙයි ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ආරක්ෂා කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක ගැන තමයි සාකච්ඡාව.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says that the statements made during the election period and the current situation are different.
ඡන්දේ කාලේ කියපු කරුණු කාරණා ඒව වෙනස් මේව වෙනස්. ඔය දෙකේ වෙනස අවබෝධ කරගන්නට ඕන. ඡන්දේ කාලේදී ඒ කියපු කරුණු කාරණා සහ මේ මාතෘකාව අතර වෙනසක් තියෙනවා. ඒක පටලවා ගන්න හොඳ නැහැ කවුරුත්. මම මේ කතා කරන එක මම හිතන්නේ කෙලිරි ගෑමක් කියලා ඔබතුමා හිතන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ කතා කරන්නත් අයිතිය නැද්ද? භාෂණයේ අයිතියක් නැද්ද? මේක ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී රටක් නේ. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ක්‍රියාදාමය තුළ නීත්‍යානුකූලව ඉටු විය යුතුයි. එය ඉටු වෙනවා යයි ජනතාවට පෙනෙන්නට ඕන.
ජනතාව සහභාගී වෙන ගෝල් ෆෙස් පිටියේ පැමිණීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
මම දන්නේ නැහැ මේ ගෝල් ෆෙස් පිටියේ රැස්වීම ගැන. මම දන්නේ බොහොම පැහැදිලිව මේ අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාවලිය හෙට දිනේ සිද්ධ වෙනවා. ඒකට අපි ආරාධනා කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. සාධාරණ යුක්තිය ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය වෙනුවෙන් පෙනී සිටින රටේ ජනතාව තමන්ගේ කැමැත්ත අනුව ඒවට සහභාගී වෙයි.
Meanwhile, at a media conference convened by the Samaki Janabalawega today, the party's Passara electoral organizer Sanjay Lakshanath said that he would provide full support if Ranil Wickremesinghe was arrested in connection with the Batalanda case and central bank issue.
If Ranil Wickremesinghe had been taken into custody and jailed for what happened in Batalanda or the central bank case, we would never talk about it. That kind of matter must definitely be punished. This is a minor issue. There are serious punishments if there's truly a problem. Then fine, imprison him. If it's like Batalanda, then go ahead, bring him out, look into the issue and put him in. No problem at all. Whatever said, Ranil Wickremesinghe has done something for the country.
A complaint was lodged with the Criminal Investigation Department today, claiming the criticism on the judicial proceedings concerning Ranil Wickremesinghe is undermining the process. The complaint was filed by the Citizens Force Against Bribery, Fraud and Waste.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has been taken into custody and remanded over allegations of financial misconduct. This is part of a legal procedure and an investigation carried out by the Criminal Investigation Department. However, at this point, the opposition, along with former party members, has chosen to disrespect the country's legal process and the court's ruling. Instead of respecting the court's decision, they have acted in an insulting manner. This can clearly be seen in the video where they mock the judiciary. In front of the Fort Magistrates Court, a woman is heard saying that this action is being carried out in line with instructions from Palavatta. This kind of behavior is an open insult to the judiciary.
Meanwhile, attorney Nalin Sampath Kumara and others lodged a complaint at the police headquarters today.
MP Dayasiri Jayasekara says this was an operation carried out from Palavatta. Along with him, I can name various other individuals who have given different interpretations of this. So what we see is not whether this was done with someone's desire or with someone's consent. This is a matter currently being heard within the judicial system. Therefore, if we have the right to talk about it, if we know something, we need to know what it is, its data, its truth, and we should investigate the facts and falsehood and say it. We are here to stand for the independence of this country's judiciary and the decision made by that honourable magistrate. We request the Inspector General of Police's office to conduct a proper investigation into this, conduct a proper investigation into these false rumours circulating through the media and take appropriate action. Also, take appropriate action against the individuals who made these statements. That is what we are asking to conduct a proper investigation.
A media briefing was held today in Colombo by youth representatives claiming to be in support of former President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The problem here is in the law being enforced against Ranil Wickremesinghe. It's the political revenge under the guise of enforcing the law. What's happening? They're suddenly filing charges against Ranil Wickremesinghe without a proper investigation or inquiry. They're trying to arrest him on a Friday without any proper investigation to show the people that they are catching thieves because they can't fulfill the mandate given to Anura Kumara Dissanayake by the people of this country. We strongly state that this is a false pretense.
The problem here is how can we distinguish between a president's personal and official matters? Please don't make a mockery of the country like this.
Now tomorrow, many seniors of the country and voters and candidates representing all political parties will all come. When they come, I say to those who are waiting to throw some in the water, try and do the same to them. The Podujana Peramuna also coming to Colombo tomorrow, the 26th. We will all gather at Kompanya Vidya. We will come tomorrow to do what we can for this democracy. We say, let's fight for this. Let's unite and fight. We can do politics however we want later. That's not a problem.
These were the views expressed by Wasantha Mudalige, National Executive Member of the People's Struggle Alliance, while addressing the media during a march held in Yakkala.
Now that
Ranil Wickremesinghe has been taken into custody, this has turned into a major spectacle. Ranil has now become the centre of attention. It's been 4 days since he was imprisoned and everything is starting to gather around him. This is Sri Lankan politics. This is what the people rejected. When Ranil applied for bail, he claimed he was in the ICU saying he couldn't breathe and that his blood sugar and pressure had gone up. Now we're waiting to see whether the Attorney General's department will say no, he cannot be granted bail. Here is the Badadan Commission report. Or no, he cannot be granted bail. Here is the Easter Attack Commission report. If the government is able to file these 3 charges against Ranil and is able to move this forward, if they can take the steps necessary to keep Ranil Wickremesinghe in custody, then as the People's Struggle Alliance, we are prepared to support the government in this regard.
Former Norwegian Minister of International Development Erik Solheim has issued a public appeal for the urgent release of Sri Lanka's former president Ranil Wickremesinghe, expressing concern over his health while in detention. In a statement shared on social media, Solheim said, except,
please urgently release Ranil Wickremesinghe. I join the many leaders in Sri Lanka, South Asia and around the world calling for the immediate release of Sri Lanka former President Ranil Wickremesinghe. We are all concerned for his health during detention. Ranil was the leader who stood up to save Sri Lanka when the nation reached rock bottom of the economic and political disaster in 2022. The accusations against Ranil are without merit. Even if they were true, they will not constitute any criminal or even unacceptable behavior in Europe. I give full support to the Sri Lankan government's campaign against corruption, but please focus on real issues.
End of excerpt. Who is this individual interfering with the judicial process of the sovereign state? Erik Solheim was appointed as the International Climate Advisor by Ranil Wickremesinghe during his presidency, who is currently in remand custody. Erik Solheim served as the Special Peace Envoy during the peace process between the LTTE and the Sri Lankan government from 2000 to 2003. During that period, he also served as the Minister of International Development Cooperation of the Kingdom of Norway. Solheim acted as a mediator in the peace agreement signed by the then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and the LTTE, as well as in the subsequent negotiations. In 2016, Erik Solheim was appointed Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme, but resigned from that position in 2018 due to issues related to the amount of money spent on foreign trips. Solheim had spent $488,518 on 529 trips over a span of 668 days. There were allegations of inadequate oversight and accountability concerning those expenses, which led to his resignation in November 2018. It was against this backdrop that Ranil Wickremesinghe appointed Solheim as his international climate advisor.
Dileepa Pires, Additional Solicitor General of the Attorney General's Department, has been provided with special security. Now, the police stated that the decision was taken considering the current situation. Additional Solicitor General Dileepa Pires has represented the Attorney General's Department in several high-profile and controversial cases. It was Dileepa Pires who appeared in court on behalf of the Attorney General's Department in the case that led to the remanding of Ranil Wickremesinghe.
Newsfirst with the people. Newsfirst, main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability. A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD, 10.25% for 15 months, 11% for 24 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
A 14-member team from Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu, India arrived in the country today. The team inspected the Indian fishing boats that were released by Sri Lankan government and are currently docked in Jaffna.
A 14-member team led by the president of Rameswaram Fishermen's Association arrived in the country today to inspect and retrieve 7 Indian fishing trawlers that were released by the Sri Lankan government.
In 2021 and 2022, the Sri Lankan Navy arrested boats that went fishing from the Rameswaram and Mandapam regions. The owners of 12 of these boats appeared before a Sri Lankan court in 2023 and the boats were released. The Tamil Nadu government had sought permission through the central government to send a team to retrieve them, and that has now been granted. Since it's been 2 years, a 14-member team left this morning to inspect the boats and see if they are in a condition to be taken back. If the central and state governments take swift action after we return and give us permission to retrieve the boats within a week, we can bring them back immediately.
The team, which departed from Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu in India, arrived at the Mailidi fishing harbour in Jaffna this evening. Following their arrival, the Indian fishermen inspected the current condition of the 7 boats. After the inspection, the Indian fishermen returned to Tamil Nadu. Sri Lankan fishermen also commented on the arrival of the Indian fishermen.
A team of fishermen from Tamil Nadu has arrived to inspect or repair their boats and take them back. The boats at the Mailidi harbour are heavily damaged. These are assets worth billions. They say each boat is worth 50 or 60 million. They should really consider the livelihood of our people. Many of our livelihoods are also being destroyed. When they fish, their nets cause damage. Considering this, they should fish within their own boundaries.
The Supreme Court has scheduled the appeal hearing for the murder of Sivaloganath Vidya, a student from Jaffna, for the 6th of November. The appeal was filed by the convicts who were sentenced to death for her murder.
The Supreme Court today set a date for the 6th November to hear the appeals filed by the convicts who were sentenced to death for the widely publicized 2015 abduction, rape and murder of schoolgirl Sivaloganath Vidya in Jaffna. The appeal petitions were called up before a 3-judge Supreme Court bench comprising Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena, Justice Achalavenga Puli and Justice Sampath Abekun. During the hearing, the defence attorney for the appellants informed the court that it took more than 4.5 years to obtain the relevant Tamil language translations for the case documents. Therefore, the attorney requested court to schedule an earlier date for the hearing. In response to the request, Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena said a date would be given to expedite the hearing of the petitions. Accordingly, the bench scheduled the appeal hearing for the 6th November. On the 13th May 2015, a student named Sivaloganath Vidya was murdered in Pungudathivu area in Jaffna. In 2017, the Jaffna High Court sentenced 7 accused, including Swiss Kumar, to death after they were found guilty of abducting, raping and murdering her on the 3rd March 2015 as she was returning home from school. The accused have filed these appeal petitions through their lawyers, requesting that they be acquitted of the charges, arguing that the death sentence imposed on them was unlawful.
Case file.
Deputy Inspector General of Police Udit Liyanage, the DIG in charge of the Colombo range, has been arrested by the Criminal Investigation Department in connection with an illegal treasure excavation in Timbirikadavala, Sravastipura.
8 individuals, including the wife of a Deputy Inspector General of Police, were recently arrested by Anuradhapura Police in connection with the incident. Further investigations are underway by the Criminal Investigation Department following directives from the Inspector General of Police. Meanwhile, a retired Major General and 4 others were arrested on suspicion of digging for treasure on a plot of land along the Beliata-Dikvala road. The Colombo Permanent High Court Trial at Bar has scheduled a bail hearing for the 23rd of September for former ministers Mahindananda Alutgamage and Nalin Fernando, who are currently serving 25 and 20-year prison sentences respectively following their conviction in the infamous Carrom Board deal. The duo have filed this bail application requesting that they be released on bail, subject to the appeal filed against their prison sentence. It was called before a bench of Justices Mahin Veeraman, Pradeep Aberatna and Amali Ranavera today. When the case was called, the Bribery Commission stated that it had not received any notice regarding the petition filed by the accused Mahindananda Alutgamage. President's Counsel Nalin Ladduahetty, who appeared for the accused Mahindananda Alutgamage, requested the court to issue the relevant notice. After considering the facts, the bench issued a notice to the Bribery Commission to present its reasons regarding the bail application and fixed the case for hearing on the 23rd of September. President's counsel Kalinga Indathissa and Nalin Laduahetty, who appeared for the defendants, stated that their clients have filed an appeal with the Supreme Court against the prison sentence and fines imposed on them. They stated that they are filing this bail application requesting that they be released on bail until the appeal is heard and a decision is announced.
Governor of the Western Province, Hanif Yusuf, has firmly denied recent rumours suggesting his resignation from office, calling them quote-unquote baseless and false. In a statement released via X, Governor Yusuf reiterated his unwavering dedication to President Anurukumara Dissanayaka's vision for national transformation. The governor emphasized that he remains fully engaged in the mission to rebuild the nation without pause or hesitation. In more news, the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka officially launched BOI Gateway in Colombo today.
The Board of Investment of Sri Lanka took another step forward in digital transformation by launching BOI Gateway, an online platform for investment approval. BOI Gateway is an innovative platform developed in-house by the BOI IT department. The platform helps simplify, accelerate and enhance the investment approval process. With the new system, investors can submit their investment applications online. Speaking at the event, Chairman of the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Herath, highlighted the process carried out by the new system.
We are in the process of a transformation journey, and in that transformation journey, digitalization is one of the key elements and a catalyst for our transformation. As you will see, it's BOI Gateway. So entire application submission process to the evaluation to until signing of the agreement will be completely digitalized, transparent, and it will also allow us to monitor and follow up on this process, and it will be transparent to the investor as well. Now, the transformation journey that we have begun is not only the digitalization. That's a very important catalyst and an important tool for us for the transformation of BOI. We are in the process of several initiatives of transformation of BOI to fulfill the mandate the government has and the people and the country has to increase FDI to this country. In fact, some of the things that we are doing already are yielding results.
Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Harshana Surya Perume, emphasized on foreign investment in the country.
For foreign investors to see a country as a viable destination, it is not only the tax advantages that really matters. There are many other ingredients to convince them to look at Sri Lanka. And among those reasons has to be the political stability in the country that will allow investors to continue with their investments within those stable parameters. Sri Lanka has that feature available now. Another aspect is policy consistency as to what we offer to investors. When investors, both local and overseas, plan their engagements, these are long-term projects, they expect the consistency on those policies based on which they made those investments. They committed to Sri Lanka with their investments. The policy consistency is prevailing on the decisions the government is taking. Another engagement, other ingredient in that process is how we interact with our investors. Instead of sending several emails or writing multiple times, we are showing the cutting edge position that we have achieved by allowing them to real-time engage with BOI team. Another ingredient, obviously, is able to get those approvals quickly. So those challenges have been identified and addressed as we speak. This will provide Sri Lanka the opportunity of competing well within the region to attract investors who are looking at this region. Sri Lanka is not the only country, but we have some unique advantages based on our location, the governance structure Sri Lanka is proposing, the transparency, the level playing field that are offered to investors, whether it is local investors or overseas investors, based on their competency, capital ability to infuse capital, and able to implement and deliver quickly. Sri Lanka is looking at driving multiple ambitious goals. In one angle, increasing our FDI, another angle, increasing our exports, attracting more tourists to Sri Lanka, increasing the remittances into the country, and all those plans are well underway in terms of delivery. So this will allow the country to move into the next level that we are discussing all the time, which is stability, consistency, and predictability. The benefits of these engagements and activities we need to flow into the citizens of this country. That's where investments will flow into, not only in the Western province, but to the other provinces. These investments will flow into other districts. This will allow us to integrate Sri Lanka into the future that we want to create for ourselves, where people will have opportunities in their respective areas instead of coming all the way to a few districts or provinces for their activities. In that journey, digitization is a must.
The National Chamber of Exporters of Sri Lanka has entered into a landmark partnership with the Federation of Indian Export Organizations. Now, this marks a significant step toward strengthening bilateral trade and expanding export opportunities for Sri Lankan businesses.
The NCE signed a Memorandum of Understanding with FIEO, opening doors for enhanced cooperation between Sri Lankan and Indian exporters. This partnership is expected to create new opportunities for trade, knowledge sharing and capacity building, while also enhancing the international competitiveness of exporters in both countries. The signing of this MOU was made possible with the support and facilitation of the High Commission of India in Colombo. As a practical step forward, the NCE, in coordination with FIEO, is preparing to organize a business delegation to India. The program will include a high-level business forum designed to provide Sri Lankan exporters with a platform to connect with potential Indian partners, expand market access, and explore new opportunities in one of the fastest-growing economies in the world.
India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar, says that Indian companies would persist in purchasing oil from whichever source offered the most favorable terms.
India will buy oil where it will benefit the country. Ambassador of India to Russia, Vinay Kumar, told Russia's TASS in an interview. The ambassador has noted that India clearly stated that its objective is energy security of 1.4 billion people of India, and India's cooperation with Russia, as of several other countries, has helped to bring about stability in the oil market and global oil market. He called the United States' decision to impose additional 25% tariffs on India as a penalty for buying oil from Russia, quote, unfair, unreasonable and unjustified, end quote. The trade between India and Russia is a bilateral relationship based on mutual interests, the diplomat noted. On the 6th of August, the United States increased tariffs on imports of Indian goods by 25% because the country is buying Russian oil and oil products. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs said that the rhetoric of the US and the EU regarding Russian oil imports is unjustified.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung will make a crucial visit to the United States to hold his first meeting with US President Donald Trump.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung is set to meet United States President Donald Trump for the first time in a high-stakes visit to his country's closest and most important ally. After a one-day meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba in Tokyo, Lee arrived in Washington, D.C. on Sunday ahead of an official working-level meeting at the White House with Trump. It will be the first time the two heads of state meet. Their summit follows a trade deal in July in which Washington agreed to cut its reciprocal tariff on South Korea to 15% from an initially proposed 25%. The meeting is crucial for South Korea, whose engagement with the Trump administration was disrupted by domestic political turmoil ignited by the brief declaration of martial law announced in December by the country's impeached former president Yoon Suk-yeol.
Hopes are fading for an injured climber in Kyrgyzstan who has been stranded on a mountain for 12 days. Rescue operations were called off due to severe weather, making it impossible to reach the climber.
Hopes are fading that an injured climber who has been stuck on a mountain in Kyrgyzstan for 12 days after rescue efforts had been terminated because of bad weather. Natalia Nagovitsina was descending from the top of Gengish Chokusu or Victory Peak at Kyrgyzstan's border with China when she broke her leg on the 12th of August. A spokesperson for Kyrgyzstan's Ministry of Emergency Situations told foreign media in a message that the experienced mountaineer has been stuck on the mountain ever since despite repeated rescue efforts which also claimed the life of another climber. A group of climbers managed to reach Nagovitsina after she suffered an injury. Russian and Italian media report while they were able to provide her with some supplies, they could not evacuate her due to extreme conditions in the mountain at that time.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good
Good
night.
night.